So wonderful to be with you. As usual, I look forward to these mornings with you. There is, for me, a tremendous amount of comfort that comes from spending time with you and talking through what it is to be in the business of spirituality and how different that business can be. There is one place that the business of spirituality, I think, is very much like the secular world. And that has to do with how we employ people. Today, what I want to talk about is how we cultivate empowered employees. The reason that I chose this topic is because we're all going to hire people and we're all going to expect them to do a particular job and not want to have to spend a lot of our time making sure they do what they need to do. So I want to talk about the power of permission, how we grant permission to people, and how we move through together with those people their learning on the job. I want to remind you as we start that this is a Unity South Central Region experience and that I am honored to have the opportunity to offer it to you. I want to remind you that Unity South Central Region actually provides this and pays me for my time. And I want to encourage you to make a healthy donation to help support that. There may only be a couple of us who come into these specific live times, but these sessions are recorded and viewed by people across the region and across the Unity movement at any time. They're all recorded, and there is an archive on the Unity South Central Region website under unitysouthcentralregion.org/business-mastermind. And if you go to that page, you can look back through the entire curriculum of last year's Mastermind. We, on the first Wednesday of every month, have an actual training together, and on the third Wednesday of every month, have a discussion. The training is recorded, the discussion is personal and private amongst those people who show up. So you can go back through all of 22's and the beginning of 2020, I can't say it this morning, 2023's trainings. So we're going to start with this quote, this Judy Garland quote: "Be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else." When we hire people, we have an opportunity to make a difference in their lives in the same way that we've talked about before when it comes to our ministry or our board leadership. We have the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the people who work with us, just like we have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of the people who are part of our congregation. And one of the most important things that we can do is invite them into excellence, invite them to up their game, to step into a place that brings them to more authentic and intentional growth. And every job that we have offers the opportunity to do that. Every single job that we have offers the opportunity for us to step in more deeply and become more of who we are. So as we talk about giving people the permission to do the work that we hire them to do, I want to talk a little bit about authenticity. I don't know how much attention you guys are paying to it these days, but there's a whole lot of artificial intelligence in our world. And artificial intelligence is coming in very quickly. I've spent a little time working in some of the forums that are out there, and it's quite fascinating how much artificial intelligence can generate for us. The thing about something artificial is it's knowledge without a lot of heart. And authenticity is something different. When we think about AI, a lot of times people are afraid that it will take over. And I have to tell you, I have such comfort that something artificial cannot come from the organic place that we do. We are authentically human. That's our job here. no matter what other kinds of intelligence live on the planet. Our job is to be authentically real. And one of the great opportunities that we have as spiritual leaders is to really encourage people to live authentically, to really come from who they are, and to step in. Whoops, I'm sorry, I just hit the wrong button here. There we go. One of the great opportunities that we have is to really encourage people to come to know themselves and live authentically from who they are, to speak their truth, to do so with grace, with compassion, with care, to bring their wisdom to the table, and also to learn from the wisdom that we have to share. So it's up to us to encourage our staff to be who they are, to value the diversity of all the different kinds of diversity that show up at our table: diversity in experience, diversity in economics, diversity in race, diversity in belief, all of the different diversity in lifestyle, all those different ways that we show up differently. We have the opportunity to cultivate a staff who values that, who really does not expect us to be cookie cutter of each other just because we work at the same place or we share some of the same spiritual beliefs. This means you too, in and amongst the unity movement, as a board leader, as a spiritual leader, you are unique. There isn't anybody else in the movement who's like you. There may be people who have things in common with you, but you are unique and an original. And the gifts that you bring are really important, both as a leader and as a staff manager. The gifts that you bring are really important. So it all kind of starts when we do our hiring, doesn't it? It all kind of starts with who we hire and how we hire. And generally, the practice is to put together a job description and decide, I need these particular tasks done, and I need these particular skills in the person who will do those tasks. So I just want to remind you that this is about more than skill. And this is about more than making a good first impression. This is about the integration with your community and your staff, how they come together, and their ability to, in some ways, surrender into each other. So I'll explain to you what I mean by that. About 20 years ago, I went to a retreat, and we were asked at the retreat to sit. The retreat center was right on the side of a river, and we were asked to go outside and sit about 10 or 15 feet apart in meditation along the riverbank. Then we were there about maybe 15 minutes when it started to rain, and it was warm. It was in Texas. It was a warm Texas rain. The river was a large river flowing by us. And as the rain fell, I opened my eyes and I watched how the rain fell into the river, and the river simply surrendered and accepted it. And I watched how, when the rain gave itself into the river, it surrendered to the force of the river as well. So there's a surrendering that happens when we bring an employee in, that is the ability of the employee to surrender into a community that they don't know well, but have chosen to be part of. And also the willingness of the community to surrender in and bring in and integrate a new staff member. So what happens a lot of times is we hire somebody and we introduce them. Hey, this is so-and-so. They're our new whatever it is. The old person is not there anymore. And what happens sometimes is that's all we say, and we don't speak any language about welcoming. Really, the deeper language, besides, hey, stop by the office and say hi, or if you see him around, tell him hello. There's an opportunity there for us to really talk to our community about the fact that our staff is part of our community. So please take time to get to know the people who work with us. Please take time to find out about them, to let them share a little bit of their story with you, and to bring them into the strength and wisdom of this community. They will be contributing in big ways. So why is this important? Besides the obvious, everybody wants to feel welcome. Your employees, you're really bringing them into a bigger mission. It's a much bigger mission, and you can take the most mundane job and make it an important piece of your mission. An example would be the person who cleans your building, who takes the trash out, who cleans the bathrooms, who does those things, who you can think of as your janitor, or you can think of as the keeper of your temple. That this is a person whose job as a temple keeper is to create sacred space in all that they do, so that when someone comes to your community, they're not noticing the empty coffee cup somebody left on Sunday in the lobby, or the trash can that's overflowing in your fellowship hall, or the fact that the windows haven't been cleaned or something hasn't been dusted forever. They're not noticing a lack of care. They're walking in and they're feeling, because the space is not a distraction, and they can feel into where they are and what they came for. So how we do things with people, bringing them into the sacred mission, is really important. And if they can't buy into the sacred mission that you have, if they really can't put their hearts into doing the best they can for the people we serve, no matter what their job is, they may have all the skill in the world and not be the right person. We are a religious movement that is based on the understanding that how we think and how we act changes the world. And it is important that the thoughts and the actions of your staff and the thoughts of and the actions of your community can integrate well. So taking the time to really go through that is important. And I know many of you here do that well. I want to remind you, we have lots of people who watch these videos all across the movement, and really say that if you're new at this, if this is new for you, we are here to support you so that you can do this well, because you're relying on these people that you hire to be able to make space in your world for you to be able to do your job. When you hire someone, have you set expectations? Have you really talked about what you expect of them? Generally, we say, this is what, tell me a little bit about you. Let me tell you a little bit about us. And we say, oh, we have this many people, and this is kind of what we believe, and here's where we are. But we don't really talk often about the very black and white expectations that create trust. So those expectations are how we work. We work together here. Maybe what you do now is you have a certain amount of time in your office, and post-COVID, you have a certain amount of time that people work from home. If somebody is working from home or in the office, how important is it to you what time they show up? Are you a stickler for punctuality? How important is it to you how they dress? How important is it to you that they are perhaps kind when they greet someone who's coming in, who is coming in looking to ask for money or looking to ask for help? How should they handle that? What are your expectations of who they will be representing you? These things are really important, really, really important. And again, I'll go back to the example of the temple keeper. I watched one of our temple keepers one year. We had our building fit probably 150 people well, and we had about 200 people in it between two spaces for a memorial service for someone well-known in our community. And I watched our temple keeper graciously and gracefully almost dance between people to do his job, making sure that he didn't interrupt or distract or get in the way. And that comes from being intentional about the people that you're working with, really understanding and having been prepared for the fact that you are working sometimes with people who are in deep pain. and how you move amongst them and your ability to be gracious instead of rushed and kind of bull in a china closet, right? That makes a difference. So when we talk about setting intentions in a spiritual center, we're talking about not just what time you show up and how you dress and how you treat people, but who you will be. That you are in a community where you can make a great difference no matter what your day-to-day job is, through your kindness and your caring for people. When are you going to show up? Where do I expect to see you? Why are you here is the one that we miss. Why are we here? Why does this spiritual community exist? And is this in line with where you want to give your time? Because we're a people place. And as much as your task is important, even if you're able to do your task really well, if you're not able to be a part of the community and care for the people that are here, really genuinely allow your heart to open to care for them, you may not fit. It may not work for you. It may not work for us. We all make mistakes. And one of the things that happens that disempowers people happens in how we respond to people when they make mistakes. It happens in whether we are angry or we are understanding or we are in a space of holding people accountable. So I say this, I'll give you an example. We had a gentleman who worked for us who our front flower beds had been cultivated for a really long time and they were beautiful. And I asked him to go outside and to weed those flower beds and thin them out. Gentleman who did outdoor work for us. And he didn't understand what I said. He went outside and he completely cleared everything out of the flower beds. They were completely naked. He took everything out. And I walked outside. He had left that day, and I walked outside and I saw what had happened. And thankfully he wasn't there because he didn't get my first response, because I'm not very good at my face speaks loudly for me. I'm not very good at disguising that. But I had the opportunity to wait till the next day to talk to him. And I did, and asked, help me understand what happened here, because I thought we were just taking out weeds. And he explained that he wasn't quite sure what I had said to him, except that he left with the understanding he needed to clear the flower beds. So we talked about listening and paying attention, and is there a better way for me to communicate with you? What can I do to make sure that we're clear? And we moved on. And about maybe 4 weeks later, his wife came in and had a conversation with me about the fact that he was having some issues with his thinking and going through quite a bit of testing to try and figure out what was happening for him. So we don't know. We don't know what's going on for people. We don't know why they don't hear what we say. We don't know why they make a choice why their brain works in a certain way, why they move in a certain way. But it happens to us too. We make mistakes. So as difficult as mistakes are, and as big as they can be, and they can be incredibly big, as big as they can be, there are solutions. There are ways to move through them. And our job is to discern as leaders whether the mistakes are being made out of lack of care, lack of attention, lack of concern, or something else. Making mistakes safe has everything to do with how people will work for you in the future. If they are afraid of making a mistake, you can't expect them to be innovative or think for themselves. They're going to want your permission over and over and over again because they don't feel safe with the way you responded. So there is a way to respond in any case with some level of compassion and safety, and to still hold people accountable for what is expected of them, and also make decisions. Sometimes we have to let people go. The bottom line on this is it's all about people. For us, it's all about people. It's about the people we serve, and it's about the people we align with us to be in service. That's what really counts in our business, very different than profitability and bottom line kind of thinking. This is about people. And we still are spiritual leaders. And when we're hard on people, we can cause a deeper pain than other people can, because there's an expectation of who we are as spiritual leaders. There's an expectation of who we are and how we think, and that we will care. And we need to do that. We actually really have to care for the people that we employ as much as we care about the people that we serve. And one of the ways to do that is to remember that the people that we serve have been called to our community because we have something that nourishes them. It's entirely possible that the people who've been called to work for us have come to our community because this community offers something that will nourish them. So it's different, isn't it? It's different than a regular job. Trust and accountability is what I'm talking about. Creating trust that it's safe to make a mistake. Also creating trust that when someone makes a mistake, that we will let them have a chance to fix it. Trust and accountability go hand in hand. We have to be, this is a quote from a client of mine who has been an on and off client since 2007, forever. And he always says this: be hard on problems and soft on people. It's a really good thing to remember. Problems need to be fixed. Be hard on problems. How are we going to fix this? What are we going to do about this? What are the next most productive steps we can take? It really isn't so often about blame, because most of the time people are not intentional in what they do. They're either distracted, didn't hear it right, or for some reason or another did not come with the skill that you need to do the job you're asking them to do. And they're still people with hearts. So you guys all know this statement. If at first, somebody say it, open your mic. Open your mic. If at first what? I can't hear you. I can see you, Bill. Open your mic.
If at first you don't succeed.
That's right. If at first you don't succeed, do not do it for them. Do not say, no problem, I'll fix that for you. Because the message that they get from that is, I don't trust you to fix what you broke. So in the case of the front, we worked together with community and brought this gentleman to coordinate replanting. It was a lovely experience for him and for us. We did it together. He went and picked up plants and chose what should go in there. And the community came together to recreate the flower beds. But he got a place of feeling part of making this a better thing. It wasn't, hey, now go plant these things by yourself. It's okay, what a beautiful opportunity we have to recreate this space. How should we do that? Let's bring some folks in that love gardening and let's do this together. We were able to be gentle with him in his current situation, and we were able to create something beautiful together, and it became a wonderful opportunity. And the people who put their hearts and love into that space saw it. They were the two flower beds right on either side of the front door. They saw it every week, as did he, for as long as he worked with us. So helping to empower people, giving them permission, understanding that they're going to make mistakes, and then being in that reassuring voice that says, well, I understand we have a problem. How can we fix it together? How can we do this together? What would you need from me to be able to move forward in a new direction? Sometimes people say they don't need anything. I know what I did wrong. I got this. Let me just fix it for you. When we take it from them and we don't give them the opportunity to make it right, we disempower them, tell them in no uncertain way that we don't trust them. You made a mistake. I don't trust you. You're not going to be able to fix this. Very, very important. If we want an independent, self-starting staff, it's very important for us to be able to let them work to make things right. Plus, as human beings, when we make a mistake, we want to make it right. It's how we heal it, by accountably stepping forward and doing the thing that we didn't do or correcting the thing we did wrong. So make sure that you're not picking up other people's work. Truly, we don't have time. So ministers are a little better about this than board leaders are. Board leaders have a tendency to go, don't worry, I'll just take care of that. No problem. I can get it done for you. Because these are volunteers and we don't want to put too much pressure on volunteers. Oh, you said that you would put together a plan for that event and you just can't get it done. No, that's all right. I'll find somebody else who can do it. That's a very different way of approaching it than saying, how can I help you? How can we do this together? What do you need to be able to move forward? Every board member wants to feel they're productive, that they're contributing to the board, and that at the end of their term, they've made a difference. Board leaders are responsible for making sure that there are opportunities given to everybody to do that. The board is an opportunity for spiritual growth and for emotional growth. People come to the board because they think they have something that can make the community stronger. And so as board leaders, if we remove something because it's not getting done, rather than aligning with the person and helping get it done, we can completely disempower their voice. They'll be afraid to volunteer, to step up because, well, I'll just let you down again. I don't want to do that. It hurts too much to let you guys down. So I'm not going to volunteer for anything. And now you have a board member who's on the board who is not an active member of the board because they don't want to let anybody down. So if somebody fails the first time, step up and try and help to let them make the problem better. If they fail the second time, see if they took any action. Are they really taking the action? You've now volunteered to assist them. Are they asking for your help? Is the task getting done? Is the problem being corrected? Usually by the third time, if I see on the third occasion that we're not getting anywhere, then I'm okay with, at that point, picking a problem up and getting it fixed, because it has to be fixed at some point, and we can't let everything roll downhill forever. You have to know where you are. You have to pay attention to how much time you're going to give somebody and be thoughtful about it. Don't just say, okay, well, I hear you say you're going to go fix that. Terrific. I'm not going to think about it again. You do have to think about it again. You have to make sure that the problem, you are ultimately, board presidents and spiritual leaders, ministers, are ultimately responsible for fixing what gets broken, for making sure that it gets fixed. But don't jump in the first time. It doesn't give an opportunity for growth. And growth is what we're all about. These people who step up to serve with us are stepping into a deeper level of spiritual growth. And that so often happens because things don't go exactly the way we planned them. Don't judge the day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you sow. This is an important quote. We can get to the end of a day where a lot of things have gone wrong and really feel like it was a terrible day and nothing went the way it was supposed to. And how we handled all of those things can make a big difference in what will come in the next harvest. Did we empower people? Did we support people? Did we think of them as people? Did we care for them? Did we hold them accountable in a loving and compassionate way? Did we generate trust? Did we build towards the future? Were we clear with our expectations, and did we live into our expectations for them? Do we see our staff as more than employees? Do we understand that our staff has shown up in our spiritual community for whatever reason the universe called them there, for whatever part of their sacred divine expression called them into this space, because they have something to learn and grow from being with us, and we have something that will learn, something that will grow us from them being part of it. Sometimes we're sowing seeds, And it's really, really locked into how we handle things.